What are you hearing on this? I mean, what's going on that front?
Look, I've heard everything from his footwork is better to, look, he's not worried about, he's not having to do, this time last year, he was having to combine learning a playbook with rehabilitating a hip. So, there's a lot of factors that people seem to think will make him better. I also can't ignore, despite maybe it being a little unfair, what you brought up about Fitzpatrick last year. And if we go back to that final game that they lost in the playoffs, that final game of the year when Fitzpatrick had COVID, and if Fitzpatrick did not have COVID, you cannot convince me for a second that he is not in that game in the second half. And what kind of conversation are we now having if that was the case? If Tua couldn't finish out that game and then also was struggling now. I think he deserves the patience that the Dolphins are giving him, but I do understand those who are wondering if he is the answer. It'll play out. It's going to play out in front of us. We're going to see it. I get both sides of it, to be completely clear.
Jeff Darlington here on the Rich Eisen Show. I mean, Tua did admit earlier this spring that he wasn't as well-versed in the playbook as I guess he needed to be. And
I don't know how he could have been, Rich. I would defend him there.
Right.
Last year was weird, man, with COVID, with his hip. Like, I get that. I do understand why maybe his transparency in that, I get that it gets a little bit of attention, but I kind of understand it. And maybe he shouldn't admit it, but he is nothing if not an honest and vulnerable human.
This is so fascinating to me, Jeff, because of who he was in college and the story that the Dolphins, pretty much the minute he looked off a safety to beat Georgia in the national championship game, changed their entire process to get him. Burrow throws 60 touchdowns, thus Tua is available for them, but so is Justin Herbert, who has a season in which he had the same offseason, right, Jeff, where he didn't have this, he didn't have on-field workouts, he didn't have any of that, and he's told literally 5 minutes before a game, you're starting against Patrick Mahomes, and winds up being rookie of the year, and we're sitting here wondering why Tua's talent level can't overcome lack of playbook knowledge in the same way that we saw Herbert do it this past year.
And Rich, that's the. I feel like I've contradicted myself 10 times, and I'm not just trying to agree with you by any means here, but that's the weird thing about this. Like, when you try to just treat the Tua situation in a vacuum, you can be patient, you can be understanding. But then when you start to bring in these other factors, whether it's Deshaun Watson's potential availability, whether it's the fact that they could have had Justin Herbert, and there's no way that even the ardent Tua fans, the guys who are most supportive, can't in the back of their heads be sitting there still saying, man, Herbert looks good. I mean, you can't. He's so clearly at this point a franchise quarterback. So I am equally fascinated by what feels now to be more of an experiment than a conviction in Tua, and I will be down here for every minute of it.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.